もしも全て投げ捨てられたら笑って生きることが楽になるのまた胸が痛くなる
After a crisp morning, it was starting to brighten up outside by the afternoon. We were walking together in the hallways of Hanako-Kun, or at least I was since he joined me, because I had to run an errand for one of my teachers in the middle of class. I'm pretty sure I had to drop off some papers to one of the front offices, but I wasn't really paying attention. On my way to the office, Hanako decided to float down from the stairs I was passing to greet me. "Why, hello there, fancy meeting you in this hallway," he said in his sarcastic, partly snarky voice of his. "Yeah, well, hey," I said. My eyes weren't really focused on where I was headed, but I trusted my feet to go the route they usually went with this errand. Hanako looked at the papers in my hands. "What are those for?" "Chemistry. You need me to help?" He floated down to the floor and started walking next to me, holding his hands out in front of me for the papers. "No, I can handle it," I said, not very focused. He let his hands fall to his sides, then stared at me for a couple of seconds with a confused look on his face, wondering why I wasn't paying attention to him. The look soon turned to motivational anger. Hanako grabbed the papers from my hands, which instantly woke me out of my trance, then dashed off ahead of me into the silent hallway. He started to laugh as he was running, which only made me more irritated with him. My feet started to pick up speed after I processed what he had just did and went off running after him. Hanako was just about over halfway down the long hallway when I started laughing along with him. I was determined to catch up, so I sprinted the rest of the way to him. Though while I was running, my clumsy self got the best of me. Out of nowhere, I tripped over air just as my hand was about to reach him. That trip made me feel a bit of a boost to help me get balanced back myself to normal, but my instincts didn't get along with that very well, as I was sent flying for a split second. I accidentally pushed him on the shoulder, which caused him to turn around forcefully and sent him flying as well. We tumbled onto the floor, and I looked up in a daze. Hanako was lying on top of me and dizzy from the tumble. As soon as he was out of the toss, he pushed his hands against the floor right next to my head, landing us in a top and bottom situation. He glanced up to meet my eyes, filled with hunger and dizziness, and for a moment, I forgot he was dead. I could feel my temperature climb. "This is such a nice view," I thought. "It's almost as if I want him to." Just as he entered that state, he was pulled out of it. We both big, flustered messes as we pulled away from this position and stood back up. "Oh my gosh, Wyatt, I'm so sorry." Hanako struggled to hold eye contact with me. "This is my fault. I shouldn't have." "It's okay, Hanako." I stopped him mid-sentence. He looked at me, but this time his eyes were full of embarrassment. Did I still see a bit of hunger mixed with happiness in there? Honestly, I didn't mind. I felt a giggle come up my throat, but I pushed it back down. I don't need this to be any more awkward than it already is. Oh, okay." He broke the eye contact to look back down at the floor. We walked along the rest of the hallway to the end of the hall, where I went to the front office on this side of the building. I looked behind to see if Hanako was still following, but I didn't see any sign of him. Part of me wanted him to come back. After I went back to chemistry, I decided to confront him about what happened in the hallway after school was over. As soon as I heard the final school bell ring, I packed up my books and went to go place them in my locker. After I made my way up the staircase to the top floor past the other students gathered in the hallways, I heard a couple of murmurs as I went to the abandoned girls' restroom. I found Hanako sitting on the windowsill, staring past the windows and into the distance. A bit dramatic, I thought. I knocked on the open door to the restroom. "Hey, Hanako." He turned around with a sort of blank look on his face, but those eyes were still as cat-like as always. "Oh, hi, Ryan. I wanted to talk to you about what happened earlier today." I started to blush a bit after saying this. Hanako did the same, and I saw his eyes slightly widen at the mention of the event. "Oh, yeah, sure." He patted his hand on the windowsill, beckoning me to come forward. I sat down to the left of him and watched my feet sway under me, since they couldn't touch the floor at this length. "Is there something wrong?" Hanako asked as he glanced up to meet my eyes. "Oh, no, nothing's wrong. It just felt... how can I put this? Unique." That was a stupid word of choice. He slightly tilted his head in confusion, with the blush still gracing his cheeks from the light outside. I can't exactly find the right words at the moment, but all I can say is it felt different in a way. Not meaning anything bad, of course," I stated frantically. What was this feeling? It wasn't exactly excitement, but I could feel my heart racing inside my chest. I began to feel overwhelmed at the recognition of how fast my heart was beating, and began tripping over my words faster. Well, I don't really know how to put this into words. I think my brain was too busy trying to form words rather than pay attention to my surroundings. I was suddenly cornered to the wall by an arm to my right of my head. I stopped rambling and jumped in surprise to look at Hanako. His head was down and his other hand was on my thigh. It was mildly cold, though my heart was beating faster than ever at this point. "Ryan," he spoke in a hoarse whisper. "Damn, is it just me or is it getting about 10 times hotter in here?" Hanako turned his head up to meet my eyes. This time they were swimming in longing starvation. "Didn't anyone tell you not to trip over your words?" A snicker spread across his lips as he pressed them onto mine, with just the right amount of pressure. I was so startled and overwhelmed with emotion that I started to tear up. I tried to hold it back, but failed as a couple of cool tears were sliding down my face. The boy didn't seem to notice, for his eyes were closed and his lips were in the kiss. As soon as I started to kiss him back, he pulled away for a moment and looked into my eyes. "Did that solve some of your answers, sweetheart?" he asked as the smile grew back to him. Did he just call me sweetheart? I brushed that thought away because it sounded too good to me. I nodded at first, responded. I nodded as a first response, and we stared at each other for a moment or two, processing what just happened. "Can I have more, please?" I stuttered. Hanako's right hand held my face for a better position, and he put his lips on mine once more. This time he licked my bottom lip as a request for entry, and I let him in. He started to get more intense with the kiss as we adapted to each other's patterns. I never wondered for a second how someone who wasn't alive could taste so sweet. The hand that was on my thigh made its way to my waist, then slowly grabbed my hand that was still on the windowsill. I pulled back from the kiss for a minute. I was nearly out of oxygen. Wow, he's a lot better than expected. He's not even breathing heavy yet. There was a slight thread of saliva from the corner of my mouth, but I quickly wiped it away. Hanako slightly licked his lips while he glanced up and down at me, and I could tell he thought he was doing good, which was true. "How was that?" he asked. I was still in shock, so the best I could muster was, better? What do you mean by that? I mean it was better than the first time. Oh, should I try beating him with a high score? A couple of tingles went down my back as he grazed my neck with his hand that was on my face. I managed to get that out as an answer. As he held the back of my neck, he went to give me a soft neck bite, then a cat-like lick over it. I accidentally left a soft, faint moan out, which caused him to pull back and catch another glimpse of my face, just before going in and shutting me up with another kiss. We went back and forth for a little as he deepened the kiss by the minute. This was such a new sensation because I had never felt a real crush before. Guys and some girls would flirt with me from time to time, but I didn't actually return them feelings back. I still feel guilty if I think too hard about it, but this love took me by surprise. I always considered Hanako my friend, but occasionally I would think about what would happen if he started to fall for me, and then here we are, unexpectedly. This time we pulled back at almost the exact same time, for we both severely were out of breath. I leaned back against the wall to catch some air, but still made eye contact with Hanako. I had no idea you felt this way, I said in between a breath. Oh yeah? I feel like I've hinted at you a couple of times by now, was his response. With that, I sat up in surprise. What? I haven't even noticed. It's either I'll be in a teasing mood or a helpful mood. It's nowhere in between. Yeah, you're usually your bratty self. Hey! His face held a narcissistic pout. I can't be that bad, can I? He cupped my face in his hands, then gave me a soft kiss. He tried to bring it higher, setting by trying to find my tongue once more, but I pulled back, although our lips were still remarkably close. Hanako, this feels so amazing, but I think we better take this slow. His grip on my face loosened a bit as he slowly started to move back. This is the first time I've ever happened to me, and I feel like I need to take my time to enjoy it, I explained. Oh, okay, he said, but I might surprise you every now and then, so keep a lookout. He grazed his bottom lip with his thumb and winked at me with a smirk. I was probably blushing a bit too much at this. Dumb. Cute, but dumb. I stuck out my tongue at him in a kiddish manner and stole his hat. I giggled as he tried to grab it for a while. I was holding it out of his reach. I placed it on my head, and I guess he thought I looked adorable in his hat, because he was the one blushing hard now. I jumped off the windowsill as he tried to catch me and give me another kiss. We both laughed as we ran and danced around in the faint sunset light coming from the stained glass as I was avoiding him. Hanako finally caught me and pinned me to the floor. Gotcha. He gave me a quick, sloppy kiss, then jumped back up as he took his hat. He adjusted it before helping me back onto my feet. I want to go check out that sunset before it's over. You want to come with? I asked Hanako, looking at the beautiful orange-pink light coming from the stained glass. Only if I get to kiss you again, he teased. Okay then, I started to make a suggestion. I'll grab my stuff from my locker, and then I'll meet you down at the garden. How does that sound? I don't like that plan. He crossed his arms and stuck up his nose in the other direction. Why is he always so dramatic? I have a better one. He glanced at me with one eye for a response, with his nose still in the air. Race ya. He swooped out of the bathroom before I had a clue what was going on. Hey, wait for me, I shouted as my feet finally began to move with my late reaction time. You're not even running, you're floating, that's cheating. We ran, giggling out of the school, towards the roof overlooking a small town with the most gorgeous sunset I'd ever seen in my life. Alright, so that's the end of this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, the fanfiction link will be in the description. Please go check it out. Give the authors kudos. Give them a star. Tell them how wonderful the story was. And yeah, I'm gonna go edit this. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Goodbye, loves.